Good morning. Welcome to another episode of In My Element with Neela. And I'm your co-host, Turk, Randall Ray. And today, we're still going to, since it's Black History, we're still going to talk about some Black history. And we're going to talk about a few planning things today on how do you get check your seeds that you want to plant from live things, and we'll discuss a few things about growing plants from your plate. So it's getting to be that time, so we're going to talk about a little gardening, but I'm going to wait for a few more people to come on before I start getting into any information. And since me and Blood Brother Mike were talking about Washington, D.C. yesterday, I decided to do a small piece on Benjamin Banneker and talk about him this morning and some of the things he accomplished and some of his beliefs, and talk about how he was connected to all that there is. He was an enlightened brother. Yep. So we'll be discussing that. Morning, Joan. Ama, Lee. Yep. Also, I want to get some people to come on to sing today. Some folks got to come on to sing and get this money. What's up, Yvette? Pimp Way. Yep. Maybe we should kick it up a notch and let some of the vocalists we have on here warm everybody up and give us a little taste and stuff after, I guess maybe about another 10 or 15 minutes. Maybe we could get Yvette to give us a little taste, and maybe Lee come on and sing a note or two, some folks with some real voices, just to warm everybody up and get us in the mood, to sing. Because as this contest is to raise subscribership for the show, and it also gives an opportunity for someone to win a crisp $100 bill, but it will probably be Cash App or Zelle or something like that to you. So let's see if we can get some people to come on today and sing, and hopefully we can get some people that are already subscribed to come on and sing today too. And something else I want to announce, since T is going to be out the rest of the week and probably a few days next week, I want to offer an opportunity to our subscribers to come on and see what it's like to be a host, to be on the show and host and start conversations and, do what we do. So I know a lot of people on here already have their own shows, and so they still know how to do this. So, and you can save me and keep me from sitting out here by myself. I kind of like having somebody to bounce and piggyback off of conversations and things said, things that I might forget about the subject that they would know. It makes it good. If I'm, even the stuff that I'm talking about that that they really don't know about, but then they might remember something, and bam, and there it is. And then it's a lot of stuff that I don't know that people can put out here. Hey, busy mama, good morning. And you can't come back and stay on the show. Well, and just like busy mama say, it's like talking to someone, and it gets weird when you're alone, and that's for sure, because it's almost like you're talking to yourself, even though you're getting a rebuttal from the chat. It's just kind of funny when you're sitting there and you don't hear a person's voice and you're holding a conversation. Morning, Linda. Busy mama says she's not gonna be with us today because she's got some training to do. So maybe we could get somebody else to come on. Lee is a moderator, her and one busy mama, so they can put the chat. I mean the link in the chat if somebody wants to come on. So every day I like to have somebody on different. It'd be nice if I can get Joan, Yvette, Lee, or we can have somebody on here that's never been on, Linda Shaw. You know, whoever wants to come on, we're gonna put a link up there, and you could be my guest co-host. And just piggyback on what we're talking about, you know, just put in your 2 cents or 5 cents, or if you got a whole dollar to put in, come on and let's talk about it. Archbishop, good morning. Oh, Blood Brother Mike should be here today, hopefully. That would be nice. If I can get Blood Brother on here, that'd be cool, because he knows a lot about Washington, D.C., and since I'm going to be on that subject today, it'd be nice if I had somebody that was from Washington or well-versed on what's going on with you know, in Washington, and you know, knows the area, because I really don't know the area. I've been maybe 4 times to Washington, but I was much younger. When I say much younger, I was a teenager, and even before I was a teenager, because my mother's brother lived there before him and his wife passed. But he still got 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 4 children and like 12 grandkids. So I still got a lot of family there. So, and the grandkids are having babies now, so the family is continuing to grow. Yep. Joan say she too shy, but she will continue to support. And I appreciate you, Joan, for all that you do that's seen and unseen. I appreciate you. Yep. And Rosalind, good morning. Good to have you on this morning. So our topic for today is going to be, first, we're going to do a Black History topic, and it's going to be about Benjamin Banneker. So that's the first subject, and our second subject is going to be, how do you check seeds from fruit that you eat, that you'll be able to plant, and you'll know which you can discard and which you plant. In the ashtray. Yep, that's my brother asking me a question. People thinking I am out here trying to be a star or some crazy crap like that, and it's nothing like that. So I am not gonna do any singing until I go to the talent shows on Thursday. You just don't know how people don't want you to do long as it is them and their crew. Jay's, the mention of my name causes a problem. That's from Yvette. Man, I ain't studying nobody got a problem with you. If they got a problem with you, they got a problem with me. And I know they got a problem with Neela. So we ain't paying them no attention, Vet. But if you saving your voice for the talent show tomorrow, I understand that too. But you more than welcome on this show, and we don't give a damn what nobody else think. You family, so I ain't studying them. And our bishop say, just saying. Rosalind, Yvette, do you don't hold back on your talent. That's what I'm talking about. And if you want to be a star, ain't nothing wrong with your aspirations. It ain't never too late to become whatever you want to be. Just move on it. And like John say, they don't even matter. Yep. Because I ain't doing this to become no star. I'm doing this to help T. And plus it gives me some structure. It get me up out of the bed every day, 5 days a week. Because if not, I don't work. I would be up all night on the idiot box and doing all kind of crazy stuff. Up just till the break of dawn, and I would be sleeping all day. So this gets me up out of the bed and get me moving. I get up and do my little exercise and drink my little, see all that red in the bottom? That's cayenne pepper and my lemon and maple syrup, not regular maple syrup. It's got to be grade B with no sulfur, organic. Yeah. But y'all know about that. But let's get on this subject of Benjamin Banneker. And please, everybody keep sharing about this contest. Hey, Frugal Mama, how you doing? Good to have you on. Lee, put the thing in the chat so that if anybody wants to come on, they can come on. Unless you coming on this morning. But I need a partner up here this morning. So we'll see what's happening. But I'm going to start this conversation on Benjamin Banneker. First of all, I don't know if everybody knows who Benjamin Banneker is or what he was famous for, and what he did and what he contributed to the United States and to the Capitol in D.C. Benjamin Banneker wasn't, his parents weren't born free, and he was lucky. I'll say it like that, because he was actually born a slave, but his master made it okay for him to learn. So it wasn't a problem with him reading, writing, learning arithmetic, and all of that. And not just that, like I say, he was an enlightened brother, and he was connected to everything that there is. He was a universal brother because he learned things from propagating and growing plants and agriculture that people use today. It's called the Farmer's Almanac, and he wrote this. And when Busy Mama said he was born on 11/9/1731 in Baltimore and died 10/9 1806. In Oella, Cantonville, Maryland. He was an astronomer, a mathematician, an agronomist, metaphysical practitioner. Let me see what else. Master builder. He was a lot of things. He's in the reason that they call the clock in the London Bridge Big Ben. That's because Benjamin Banneker, he made the clock. He designed Big Ben and brought it to fruition with the help of the Queen's builders. So I didn't know if anybody knew that. I thought I'd throw that out there. He also designed Washington, D.C., the total layout of the streets, how the buildings were going to be, and everything. So he mapped it out according to a lot of metaphysical principles. Like if you look at the position of the obelisk, and the obelisk is the tall spear that's in Washington, and at the top of it is pointed and is square and gets larger as it goes down to the bottom. And obelisks were designed originally from Egypt, even though they have obelisks all over the world. And let me see. Archbishop says, "I'm so glad I finally got to the point in life where I do exactly what I want and do without anyone's approval. It took me a while to get there, but it feels so good. Y'all get there." And Busy Mama says, Big Ben, really, that makes a lot of sense. Never knew that. Awesome. Yep. But getting back to him building, when he designed the layout for Washington, D.C., he lined up a lot of stuff with constellations, and it has a lot of Egyptian principles in laying it out, because Benjamin Banneker was, I wouldn't say a student of Hiram Abiff, but Hiram Abiff was like a dead mentor. He studied as much as he could find on Hiram Abiff. And if you don't know who Hiram Abiff is, he was a master builder in Egypt. He was the one that started the real Freemasons, because he was a stonemason in Egypt. He's the one that did all of the layouts for Egypt, for pyramids, all of their buildings, everything. He was like the architect of all of that. So where he was getting his information, this brother had to be enlightened, because back then people just didn't have knowledge to even be able to cut stones with that precision. And it was the same way Benjamin Banneker did in Washington. People didn't know how to really design stuff the way he did, to where if you did an aerial view of Washington and you look at it, and you take out all of the structures and just look at the streets are actually and are designed a certain way to where positions of the sun and the moon reveal different stuff. And then that's where that obelisk comes in. That obelisk is sitting in an area. Its shadow when the sun hits it and when the moon hits it, it has different positions that reveals different things. Did you anybody? I know everybody has probably seen the movie with Tom Hanks, and the second one was Angels and Demons, but the first one was about uh, hidden treasures from America. And there's a lot of hidden treasures and a lot of hidden history in the United States, because George Washington, just about all of the presidents, I'll just say it like this: most people in power back in the Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons. That's the movies I was talking about. But when you see a lot of leaders trying to learn and get information from things from Egypt, it makes you wonder why. Because it's a lot of power in the knowledge of metaphysical principles and astrology and positions of the moon and positions of the sun, because it has cause and effect on the earth. Like the moon has when it's full, when it's quarters and its different stages, does different things to the ocean. And that's kind of like why we're having a lot of trouble with our weather now, because the global warming is heating up the ocean, is melting the polar ice cap, and the oceans are rising, but the water is warmer. This usually is a slower process. And so it would allow that water to melt off and keep replenishing our oceans and rivers and all of that. But it also has something to do with ebb and flow, the way the tide comes in, how far, and within another 10 or 20 years, with this global warming the way it is, it's going to have a lot of land underwater. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take, because I don't have the exact science on that, but I know that this climate is a problem. And if Benjamin Banneker was here, he would be able to break this stuff down for scientists to where they wouldn't know how long it would take, because they guesstimate now. But when you don't have no esoteric knowledge, when you don't get no downloads from the creator, everything you can't figure out with a pen and paper. Sometimes you got to go inside and get information. One busy mama said she read somewhere that the Sahara Desert, and much like in Egypt, every 4,000 years that desert disappears to a green, lush land. And at one time, the Sahara Desert was covered with water. But then that goes back to talking about Lemuria and Mu and those other hidden continents. But I don't want to get off subject. I want to keep talking about Benjamin Banneker and him laying out the streets and the design in Washington, because even the buildings, the 13 pillars and the 13 stairs and the first 13 colonies, that numerology has a lot to do with how Benjamin Banneker wanted stuff done, because numerology plays a part in a lot of metaphysical principles. Like Benjamin, he used to like if you look at the buildings of the Capitol, the if you count the Capitol stairs and the pillars on it, and then you go and you look at what's on the dollar and the stars that are around the amounts of money on the back of the dollar, it's 13 stars. And it's arrows that an eagle is holding. It's 13 arrows. Now, all of this stuff is Masonic um, principles and Masonic information. And I'm not a Freemason, so I don't know what all of it means. And the only way you can get that information is to become a Freemason. Now they have a few things that they'll let you know, but then other things they deem as secret because it is considered a secret society to be a Freemason. Morning, Edith Rogers, Debbie Ratcliffe. Hey, Daybreak, what's happening? We got Daybreak on. Yep. So we're talking about Benjamin Banneker in Washington today. And the other things, like when I was mentioning Hiram Abiff and Egypt, is so much stuff that's parallel with Washington and Egypt, because George Washington, Andrew Jackson, all of those guys were Masons and master Masons. And if you look at all of the pictures depicted of presidents during that time frame in colonial times and when they were first building this country, you could tell that the presidents knew that Egyptians and Moors had knowledge that they didn't, because all of their photos or paintings, that not photos because they didn't have no photos back then, but all of the people that were standing and posing for portraits, if you notice, all of them have a black person in it wearing a turban. Now, a lot of people look at these guys in these drawings and paintings and say, oh, well, that's the president's slave, because back then it was slavery times. But that's not true. Those were actually advisors, and they were Moors, and they were Freemasons. And they had esoteric knowledge, and they were teaching it to the presidents, because these presidents wanted that strength. And it gets so deep with Freemasonry and Egypt and Hiram Abiff and Benjamin Banneker that even Adolf Hitler studied Egyptian metaphysical principles. And he did a lot of stuff. Just like I was saying yesterday, that SWAT sticker is actually an Egyptian symbol. And the information that comes out of Egypt, it had to come from people that were of higher knowledge of even of what we have today, because they still can't figure out how to build a pyramid. I mean, not with the size stones that they have, and the way things are laid out inside and outside. They can't replicate it. They can do a close replica, but it's not to the point where they could make it perfectly right, and they still can't do that. One busy mama say there was a dude sitting next to George Washington, and he looked like a little young black young man that was short, and he has on a turban, and George Washington is standing by his horse, if that's the same picture. But if you go back and look at some of the old drawings and paintings of the presidents, all of them, or dignitaries back then, all of them have these little Moors, or some of them are larger, but some of them, a lot of them have Moors in their paintings, and they're not slaves. These are free men with knowledge, and we're teaching the presidents and dignitaries, and they were advisors on what they should do and how they should run stuff. And they were honored and revered. They, even though it was slavery time, everyone here that was of color wasn't a slave. And they say that was the original president, the short Moore. Well, they say the first president of the United States was black. And we know that didn't last long, but that was because right after slavery, when blacks went free and they had the right to vote, they were putting people in positions. We had senators and governors and mayors and congressmen. So, the playing field was kind of evil, was kind of level, but then the evil stepped in and shut that off, because that's giving too much power and precedent to people that, that they considered not to be smart or, capable of running a country or anything like that. So, Jim Crow stepped in, and that was the end of it. So, that's something to really look into. Now, I want to talk about Benjamin Banneker and his planning prowess. Now, this brother was so bad. He actually, the Farmer's Almanac tells you the cycle. Remember when I was mentioning how the moon and the sun has cycles, and the obelisk shows different hidden stuff, according to the position of the sun and the moon and stuff like that. But if you don't know what you're looking for, you just looking. It actually has a lot to do with growing cycles, the cycles of the moon, the cycles of the sun, the winter solstice, the summer solstice, the time of year, just everything has to do with life, because everything is all connected. Everything on this planet is all connected. When you look at Benjamin Banneker's Farmer's Almanac, he actually took his Farmer's Almanac and he presented it to other slaves to make it easier in the fields, so that they would know when to do certain things. They would know, well, this is giving us revelation of, it's going to be a lot of water this year, or it's not going to be a lot of rain this year. It was information that was given that was almost like psychic, because the weathermen now, they practice giving you a weather, and they have an idea. They can see all these storms forming and stuff now with the equipment that they have. But back then, they didn't have that equipment. But he could tell you how the weather was going to be, how much rain we were going to get in a season, whether your soil was capable of producing the right nutrients for that type of plant, because you just can't put things that don't grow well in some soils, and some grow well in sand, some grow well in rocky areas or on top. So he cataloged all of this information into a book, and it was the timing of the sun rising and the time of the sun setting, the stages of the moon, the tides coming in and out, water levels from rain, and how long the winter was going to last. He didn't need no groundhog to come out and check to see if his shadow was going to be there, because he had knowledge on how to read the plants and positioning of the sun and positioning of the moon that would tell him how things were going to occur. And so when he cataloged that into the Farmer's Almanac, it changed the agricultural game of the United States. And so he made this book available to everybody, and they still use the Farmer's Almanac today. And one busy mama said, a biographer suggested in 2002 that Banneker may have been a member of the Dogon tribe. And his people probably were, because a lot of people in the United States came from West Africa, and that's where the Dogon are from, West Africa. And that's that same tribe that could map out the constellations without a telescope, and it could never be figured out how they did it. And Banneker's grandmother, Molly W. Elsh, purchased a slave called Banneker to establish a farm located in Maryland. So that means he must have been a master horticulturalist or master gardener. But, that's what made the slaves so great over here, because most of the people in Africa already have education from taught down, through this, from family member to family member, on how to grow, because agriculture was big in Africa. Everybody thinks that Africans was just running around with loincloths on, chasing lions and spearing gazelles and shooting blowgun darts and stuff, and that's just not true. These brothers were master gardeners. They were master builders. They were professors and geologists. They were studying everything back then and cataloging it. But when the Europeans went in, they burned Luxor, which was the largest university in the world, where everybody went to school, including Plato, Socrates, and all of the people that were considered the very smart people of Europe, that were the master professors. Morning, JB. Good to have you on this morning. Yep. Well, we were just having a conversation about Hiram Abiff and Benjamin Banneker and the parallels between Egypt and Washington, and all of the things that Benjamin Banneker gave to this country, because he gave some hell of a knowledge when he wrote that Farmer's Almanac. That put him on the map, because now their crops would yield more. And so when you have a higher yield, it creates more revenue, more power. That's how it goes. Busy Mama say he had it in his genes, and since it's in his DNA, he probably had Dogon capabilities and intelligence, for sure. And so when it comes to that Farmer's Almanac, it just doesn't have to do with farming. It has a lot to do with astrology and science, because agronomy actually is a science. It's the science of growing. But when you're planting stuff, it's just a really good feeling, when you start something from seed, and then when it finally comes to fruition and produces a fruit or a vegetable that you actually grew yourself and consume. People that have kids and grandkids, grow something with them. Grow something with your kids. Grow something with your grandkids. And watch how they watch it grow and how excited they get. Because producing life, is a wonderful thing. And even if it's just plant life. So, it's something that we need to know to be able to survive. Because if anything ever happens to where you have to grow your own food or produce some type of plant life in order to survive, everybody needs to know, that you just can't throw something in the dirt and then throw some water on it and say, okay, it'll grow. Because there's a lot of seeds you can put in the ground and they won't germinate, because you have to know some seeds have to have certain things done to them, like pine trees and most of your evergreens need fire in order to activate their seeds. Like when you see these natural fires that were in California and in Florida and all over the country, that's because that's a natural process. Now, it has gotten worse and out of control because of the global warming and the effects that it's having on the environment. Some areas are too dry when back before the ozone layer was depleted and global warming wasn't a factor, and everything was running according to the creator's plan. It was never too dry. So things would burn, but it would just burn like all of the top layer and maybe 20 feet up in the air on the trees. But then that heat would never be so hot to where it would destroy the whole tree or the plant, because this plant might have been dead over the winter because it got cold and it died back. But that doesn't mean that the plant is dead, because if it has a root system, the root system will cause it to regrow. So that fire is needed to burn all of that top layer of brush off. And when that burns off, then you have ashes, and that ashes is the most potent natural nitrogen on the planet. Comes from plant material. That's why they tell you to start composting and mix your compost in your garden, because then that puts all of the nutrients. Anytime plant matter or flesh breaks down and it's in the soil, it replenishes all of the nutrients. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, all of this stuff is a part of growing. And and so Benjamin Banneker had all of this stuff logged, so people knew that these natural fires were actually actually a part of the ecosystem to make these pods open up. The pine cones would heat up, and then it open up, and then it would drop the seeds, and then the seeds fall in the ash, and the ash is just a bed of nitrogen, and animals come by and walk it into the ground, and it's fertilized and planted. Or they might eat the seeds and then defecate them somewhere else, and it'll start someplace, start a whole nother area of growing trees in the woods. And that's just how nature works, because everything is connected. One thing helps another. But with now all of the problems that we're having with global warming, now we're having fires that are devastating, and they're burning millions of acres of trees, which is having another effect on the environment, because trees produce our oxygen. And even in South America, they're taking trees out, they're burning stuff out because they want land to farm and to grow cattle. They want cattle fields and stuff, and you can't have cattle fields if it's a jungle. And so they're going over there and they're burning it up. And then it's regular people that's selling land to other people. And I don't even understand how a government would allow people to set stuff on fire and then sell it to somebody come and farm it. So they have to be a part of the problem. JB, have you ever taught agriculture? No, I've talked to students when I was at the garden about growing stuff, but I was in there with a professor of horticulture, and I was just kind of in there as an assistant. I really wasn't the teacher there. I was like the teacher's assistant. That was to answer that question for JB. But when you learn how to plant and grow, and you teach it to your children, it's teaching them to survive. Because if we ever have an apocalyptic time, you're going to have to know what you can eat, how it grows, where you can grow it, whether it needs a lot of water, a least amount of water, whether it takes dry soil, sandy loam, or if it needs regular soil, and whether you need to aerate an area in order to get stuff to grow, because everything needs oxygen and everything needs water. Well, plants don't need oxygen because they give off oxygen and they take in the carbon dioxide, because we're all connected, and the creator made the science so precise. One thing is linked to another. And so it's really astonishing how stuff works and how easy it is to grow things when you know how to do it. So I'm gonna save some of this Benjamin Banneker lesson in the Farmer's Almanac, because I really want to go into pulling him back up, because this is Black History Month. I want to do a talk on Hiram Abiff, who he was, what he did, and how he helped change the world. And that'll be another day. But I want to go into, since we're talking about farming and agriculture and all of that, I want to go right on into the next subject of today, which is from seed to planting, not from seed to harvest, just seed, germination, and then planting. Because germination is when you make a seed go to plant. Produce the plant, to produce green from it and create a root system. So now you can take that and put it in soil, and then the plant can grow. And so I want people to be able to know how, if they went to the grocery store and they bought a bag of apples, and one of your kids say, well, can we plant these seeds and grow a tree? On how to pick the right seeds. So, and you can take a strawberry and actually get all them little bitty seeds off of the skin. And then you take those seeds and you float them in water, maybe about 2 or 3 inches deep in a glass. take those seeds and put them on the water and float them. But first, if you don't know how to harvest strawberry seeds, the easiest way to do it is to mash the strawberry itself. A lot of people say you can put it in a blender and then take the seeds off of the top, but it's kind of hard to do that to me, because you have to wait for everything to settle and then stir it up so the seeds will float back up. And then you scoop them off and then you put them in a glass of water about maybe 2 or 3 inches, and you leave them in there for 15 or 20 minutes. And this is for strawberry, kiwi, lemon, lime, grapefruit, apple, orange. You don't have to do a peach like that, or plum, because those are pitted seeds. So most of your pitted seeds, you don't have to float to see whether they'll germinate. So when it's not a pitted seed, you take those seeds and you float them in like 3 to 4 inches of water. Don't overfill the cup, the glass, to where you have seeds on top of seeds. You just want one layer of seeds all the way across the top of the of your glass or your jar, whatever you have it in, and float it for 15 minutes. And all of the seeds that fall to the bottom are the ones that you'll take and you can plant, and you germinate them first. So you scup after the seeds fall, you take all of the ones off of the top and you discard them, because they're not going to grow unless you want to use them for something else, like celery seeds and different stuff you can save and use for seasoning. Or pepper seeds, they can add heat to different stuff. Because you can even, you can take any seed, actually any seed, and float it, long as it's not pitted. Pitted seeds are usually too big to float anyway, and they just gonna drop to the bottom. But like everything else, peppers, apples, the whole nine, all the way through all of the fruits, you float those seeds for 15 minutes. Whatever's on the bottom is good. Whatever on the top, you discard. But now that you have your seeds, then you take them and you want to germinate. So now you know that these seeds have life in them. So now that you know that you have life in the seeds, you take the best way to me is, if you don't want to spend any money, you could just take an egg carton. And if it's the one that holds 18, cut the top off of it. Then turn it upside down, the one that has all the little sections that hold the egg, and poke 3 holes, maybe 4 holes in each one, so that it can drain, but drain slowly. And then you put your soil in each one of them, and don't overfill it. Just make it nice and level, and then wet it, and don't flood it out to where it's real mushy, because we're going to put elastic over the top of this. So once you just dampen it, push the seeds in there. All this, push your seeds, and don't push them all the way to the bottom. Make it about maybe 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch below the surface, and cover it with plastic, and set it in a sunny place, somewhere that gets at least 10 to 12 hours of sun a day. And don't take the plastic off. That plastic is going to sweat, and it's going to heat up. It's going to actually turn that egg carton into like an incubator. And so those seeds are going to warm up real hot during the day, and you don't ever have to water it again, because the moisture that you put in that soil, and when that sun hits it, it'll make that moisture collect and create condensation on the plastic, which will continue to water the plant. So the seedlings, after about maybe 6-7 days, it's according to which seeds they are, of how long it takes for them to germinate, you'll see the little seedlings start to pop. Now, as soon as these seedlings pop and you see them, once they get a few centimeters above the soil, you want to take that plastic off, because you don't want the plastic to connect to the plant, because now when the sun heats it up and that moisture gets to it, it'll steam cook the plant. So once the plant is big enough and it's a seedling, you peel that off and you let it grow. Now you have 18 plants. Now take the plant and let me read some of these comments, because I'm just talking. And one busy mama say, growing is exciting. And taking care of something other than yourself. And that's what it'll teach your kids, is when you're growing stuff, because they have to maintain it or else it will die. So how can we use the Almanac nowadays, and whose name is listed on it? Did he get credit? Yes, he did get credit for the Almanac, for sure. Have I ever taught agriculture just as an assistant? Can I successfully grow lemons in a container? It has to be big enough to grow a tree, and probably the smallest container that you could grow a tree in that'll produce fruit is maybe 5 to 10 gallon. Being the smallest, 5 gallon, never being larger. But I mean, if you got 5 to 10 gallon bucket, you can grow a lemon tree in there and it will produce fruit, but you're going to have to feed it. You just can't put it in there and the soil and don't put fertilizer or anything in it, because it's going to have to be enhanced, because it's only in a 5 gallon pot of soil, and those roots are searching for nutrients in that soil. And so if it's not enough nutrients in there, the tree will grow, but you won't get any fruit. It might even produce a pod for it, but it'll never produce the fruit. That's the key in growing fruit trees. If you don't feed them, you're not going to get anything off of it, unless you have it in the ground, because then it'll naturally be able to get nutrients and stuff from the earth naturally. And then if you have a orchard, you still have to let the soil rest, or you have to fertilize, because you have so many plants pulling from the soil. Like if you notice, farmers work certain areas of their farms with different plants, because some plants don't pull as much nutrients. So it gives the soil a time to rest, but it still gives them the product to sell. And then it gives other areas a chance for the soil to rest, because actually they say you should grow for 7 years and then don't grow nothing on the 7th year and let the soil replenish itself. So that's how that works. And good info, gonna go do that with her toddlers. That's what one busy mama say. And Archbishop, yeah, you can grow it in containers, but you just got to be big, and you got to germinate the seed first. And then after the seed is germinated, put it in the pot, but make sure you drill holes in the pot. You can't grow anything unless you're growing like bog plants that need to stay in wet conditions all of the time. Like cattails, let me see what else. The tubers, the kind that, when I say tubers, it's a plant. It's like a Venus flytrap, but it's just a big tube, and the insects are attracted to the sweet smell of the syrup that's down inside the tube. And when they go down in there, that it's like an acid, and it's real slick, so they can't get out, and it dissolves them, and that's how that plant gets protein to, and its nutrients to grow. But they got a lot of bog plants that don't grow like that, but I was just giving you that example because I like tubers. They got them in the botanical garden. Getting educated here, Turk. You got to write all of this down, man. I got a lot of stuff written down upstairs in a few journals. I'm gonna probably pull that out when I don't know if I'm gonna do a segment on T's show or if I'm actually gonna do my own show. I don't know. I haven't decided. I want to talk to T and all of that stuff before I make a decision. But I am going to do a separate show on growing medical marijuana and feminized hemp. That I'm definitely going to do this year from seed to harvest. But I want to do a regular like segment of the show or something on growing, maybe once or twice a week, come springtime. But it's just, I just love to grow. I love to play in the dirt. Kids love to play in the dirt. First thing they do when you let a child out, they go down and they get a stick and they digging down in the dirt and pulling stuff up and getting bugs and worms, and all of that stuff is an intricate part of the ecosystem and this planet. All of the little bugs and stuff you see in there, they help create microorganisms and stuff in the soil that help the plants. Worms actually are the cultivators of the soil. They go in there and they dig it all up and they eat stuff out of it. And when they defecate, the casings that they put out is so rich. Like Lisa Chianci, she has a worm bed, and it's in a big square plastic container, and it's on an angle. So she goes and she pours water over that, and then it drains through, and there's probably maybe about a foot and a half, 2 feet of soil. And then when she pours that in there, and it's got all these worms in there, when that water drains out of that into the corner the way she has it pitched, when it goes into a jug, that gives her natural fertilizer from worm casings. And that's how she fertilizes her garden, which you can do that. But when you're composting, when you put worms in your compost, they'll help break it down. And to see how really great worms are, get you a worm box and go to a bait shop. Make a worm box. You can use anything, plastic, wood, anything, and just poke some holes in it that are small, but it won't allow the worms to escape. Going by you about 3 dozen of fishing worms, red red worms and night crawlers, and just dump them in there. And then to feed them, put scraps from your table on there, stuff that's not cooked, like your salad and your fruits and stuff like that. And you can actually put meat in there too. I wouldn't, gravy and all that, because then that's going to make animals come to that area. But you can actually take like old little small pieces of hot dog or bologna or something and put that in there and then cover it up and come back in 2 or 3 days, it'll be gone. The worms will eat it all. and then all of that will be broke down in that soil, and then you can use that for fertilization. Yeah, but let me see. I'm gonna go to some of the comments. Busy Mama say, I know, learning some goodies. Archbishop say, keep talking. Yes, make a journal. Come on, man. That's where they get us at. Start a book or something. That's what Busy Mama said. Oh, good. He got credit. Awesome. Sneak attack. Go get back on. I don't know if this is my boy on here that paints on the gym shoes, because his name is not Hardy Villac 1K. I don't know. And then Archbishop, and who is that Busy Mama? Thanks, guys, for coming in. Everyone be sure to hit that like button. That's what Busy Mama said. Should I separate my baby lemon plants? They are in the same pot. Yeah, don't, because if it's too crowded, you're going to stunt the growth. And it's according to how big the pot is, how far they separate it, because lemons are not a plant, they're trees. So you're going to have them at least, if you're going to have dwarf lemons, because that's what it's going to be, dwarf lemon trees, because it's not in the ground. So it'll never reach its full potential and growth cycle, but you will still be able to produce fruit from it. And if not the first year, the second year you should get something. Once it grows a full year, you probably won't get a yield, but that second year you should get a yield from it. But it's if it's in a 5 or 10 or 15 gallon pot, that should be one plant, one tree. Yep. So that was answer to Busy Mama's question. And Archbishop, is 7 years the same method with flowers? No. Flowers don't produce edible fruit, even though some flowers you can eat, like they eat flowers off of cucumbers and squash and a lot of garden flowers like that. But I mean, regular botanical flowers, they do require nutrients as well, but you don't have to let the soil rest and all of that unless you're growing it as a producer of flowers to sell, because now you got so many plants. And then that's going to be done in greenhouse. People don't grow flowers like that in a large garden, wide open. They grow those right in the pot, from seed to flowering plant, and then they just ship them out. So you don't have to worry about that with growing flowers. And they're about 3 or 4 inches tall. Make sure you go at least 4 to 5 inches deep, and I would say in circumference, maybe about 3 or 4 inches in circumference. You want to take it out. Have you ever seen them transporting trees and they had a ball on the bottom? That's called a root ball, and they put it in burlap sacks when they transport them. Now they can transport a 20-foot tree the same way, but that ball is going to be like 4 or 5 feet big, and it's going to be in a steel basket and burlap. And the reason they do that is because when you're taking out a tree to replant it, and according to what kind of tree it is, if it has a large tap root, you have to make sure you get bulk of your feeder root, so that when you replant that tree, that feeder root will suck up enough nutrients so that tap root can start to grow again, so that the tree won't die. Because if you shave all of the, dig it up and then all of the dirt, and you lose all your feeder roots, the tree is going to die. So that's why when you if you're doing it 3 or 4 inches, you have to do the same technique, but just smaller. Yep. So I'll write all of this stuff down. So when I start doing the segment, I can pull stuff up and we can go back if people need to, hear it again or they missed something. Is it true that the reason we're having a food shortage is because the government is paying the farmers not to farm and harvest? Hell yeah. That is absolutely the truth, without a doubt. And they've been doing it for years. For years. I mean, this ain't no new practice because it's supply and demand. Okay, now you have a great demand for the supply, but you don't want your supply to outweigh your demand because then that makes the price go down because you have an overabundance of something. So in order for them to keep control so that money can continue to flow, they actually pay farmers not to grow. They don't pay no black farmers not to grow. They don't give a damn about the black farmers. They do the black farmers so bad it's a shame. We should really do a show on that too, since it's Black History, on how they've been doing black farmers ever since slavery time. Yep. But Lisa, I need to have a YouTube channel. And Biz Network say that would be great. Busy Mama say right. Let's vote it live. I understand. Maybe that's a miss key. I don't know. But Jonathan say, I agree, Alicia. Busy Mama say, let's do it live. Oh. Say like this, but actually, Randall's Garden. Okay, y'all giving me a lot of ideas. I'm gonna have to get to getting, as they say. I'm gonna have to get to work. How can I get more worms in my yard? Really, if you just want them in your yard, they're not going to stay exactly where you want them because they move around. But if you just want a overabundance of worms are like maybe $2 for a dozen at a bait store. Now you probably can go to Amazon and buy a bucket of worms, and to get the type that's indigenous to where you live, because that matters too. So I would say go on Amazon. It'll probably be cheaper than going to a bait shop, because you're using the worms for a different purpose. So they probably would be cheaper. Yep. Grow with Me in Randall's Garden. Oh, that's a nice name, Busy Mom. That too, Alicia. He has so much info on a variety and have to have a channel too. Randall's Marijuana Garden. Now that really put a smile on my face. JB said that. Yeah, as soon as they legalize it, then I will do a full blown course on that, because where I stay, it's not legal to grow. Now I can grow all of the feminized hemp I want, and nobody can say nothing. But I take a chance. I grow one plant every year, because it's not going to produce a yield if they say, okay, well, we're going to get you for propagating. And now, since it's been decriminalized and they see I'm not trying to sell the stuff, they probably, it'll probably be a fine or something like that. But I doubt if they would actually lock you up. I'll probably have to go to court, because they will give you a citation for it. But If you growing too much, you can go to jail. You can still do jail time for growing marijuana, especially if you're in a state where it's not legal to grow. So I wouldn't take no chances if you live in the Bible Belt like me and they dragging it out because they trying to figure out how they can get all of the money and cut the middleman out. And, it's just about money and greed down here. It ain't about no Bible Belt and all of that stuff, because if y'all was holier than thou, you wouldn't treat people the way you do. But then, that's another subject. So, it need to be trademarked. A worm box. Oh, that's a good idea too. But I'm pretty sure they got companies that already had those out there. Biz Network. He really does a wealth of information. Oh, that's lead. All talking about me. I'm trying to talk about something. Oh Lord, I need to learn how to work this damn computer. That's for sure. Hey, Donetta. Sister Marvet. Oh, Lord, y'all got a bunch of stuff. I'm behind. Let me catch up. Y'all got questions in here and I'm just talking. They are really pushing composting here in Maryland. Heck yeah. And as you should. And you should be pushing growing something. You don't have to live on a farm to have a small garden. You don't need a super large space to grow a garden. And I've been doing some research on this permaculture and food forests, where people take their yards that live in urban areas and they turn it into a food forest. So I'm gonna talk about that on another show too. Hey, Sister Marvet. Let me see. Always need a notebook when Randall get into one of his topics. Yep, another live doing composting live. That'll be good too. Wait, I missed it. So take them out and separate them. Yeah, and separate them with a ball. Don't take it out naked, because you want to get as much of the root system on those lemon trees as possible. And I know you got them offset since they're in the same pot. Then once you take one out, you don't have to take, but if you got two in there, just take one out. If you got three in there, take two out, and then set one in the middle. But make sure you get as much of the roots on it as you can, and don't take the dirt off. Just take you a nice size spoon, like you're cooking a pot of beans, and dig it in a circle, and make sure that circle is at least 3 inches away from that little tree, and then go down at least 5 inches if it's 3 inches tall, and pull that whole piece out. So prep your other pot where you're going to put it first. So when you take it out, you can plant it straight into the pot that you want it to go in, and then water it. And, you got to feed it, but don't overfeed it and don't overwater it. They did a segment on composting on the news channel I watched. They had one of those silver big long tubes mixing the compost. That's what Biz Network put on here. They have large composting machines, especially if you have a farm. And they call them drums, and you can hook it up to the tractor, because the tractor has a gear in the back that you can hook up, and it's for changing out different pieces of equipment. And they actually had those where you can put it onto a composter, and it'll turn it for as long as you want, because all you want to do is incorporate everything and then cut it off and let it sit and start to break down again. And Archbishop said, wow. And Darnetta said, good morning, everyone. I just wanted to say that everything that is going on these days has already been prophesied. And it's going to get worse, guys. Read the word of God in the King James Bible. Yep. But that's not our subject right now. And I love you. And I ain't speaking nothing negative because you create your own atmosphere, and I ain't creating that for me. I can see it, but I ain't got to believe it. And what I don't believe, I ain't going to manifest. Yes, this is why we're having issues getting farmers for our market. That's what Alicia said. They're having a problem with farmers coming to the market at the farmers market. So what's the best way to grow tomatoes? I've tried it last year and grew one edible tomato. Man, come on, JB. Tomatoes are very easy to grow. You either not watering enough, they not in sun long enough, or you're overwatering. And in order for me to determine what you did wrong, I would have to know what the tomatoes leaves look like. If you had a picture, I could tell you whether it was too much water or not enough, or if you just needed to fertilize or anything like that. And yes, do tell us about black farmers one day. Yeah, I'll do that one day this week. And Busy Mama said, right, Biz Network, they are up to something big for Asians. Uh-oh. Where did I lost it, y'all? Oh, here they go. They are up to something big for Asians. Chinese are buying land and farms as well as gates. Well, the United States government owes China a lot of money. And they're kind of like our landlords, and we don't even know it. China is making some serious moves, and everybody watching Russia. And that's kind of like the distraction, because China is colonizing Africa. Europe owes them money. The United States owes them money. A lot of countries in Africa owe them money. And they're just making some real serious moves when it comes to power on this planet. So folks need to pay attention and be careful. Yep. And if I had a YouTube live on gardening and growing, I would have so many followers. It's truly your calling. Thank you. Archbishop said that. Your wisdom is a true treasure. Thank you, Archbishop. I appreciate that. Then you have to do it in a closet with green lights. Do what in the closet? Do you have to do it in a closet with green lights? What you talking about, Biz Network? When you're talking about do what in the closet? Are you being funny? Yes, we have questions. LOL. Morning, Sherry. How you doing? Busy Mama. Okay, spoon in a circle. That's right. And make sure you go deep enough to get the taproot. You don't want to break that on something that's that small. I might have to do a video on the transfer. That would be cool. Or do it live and what's it on Messenger? Do on me on Messenger, and I'll show you how to do it. If you want, that's up to you. But it ain't that hard. You can do that. And JB, you probably overwatered them. Okay, and the leaves look terrible. Yeah, you probably drowned it. Did you plant it in pots with holes? Was it able to drain? If it's not, if you will drown them, if you don't have anything in it that would be able to drain. Probably overwater. Oh man, the leaves look terrible. I was actually speaking on directing my comments toward the food shortages. That's man-made food shortages, babe. They just trying to get paid. Believe that, sis. I'm telling you, the you know how they doing it. Uh, they have stuff just sitting around in shipping containers. First, oh, it's a shortage of truck drivers. Everybody I know, damn near in my family in Chicago, all of them truck drivers. And there's plenty of truck drivers. There's so many truck drivers living in my neighborhood. It's a shame. It ain't a shortage of truck drivers. It's that they're detaining the disbursement of food and product so that they could drive the price of everything up. It's just a slick way of them getting money. And see, the powers that be say, well, the government then gave all these people all this money. Well, now we got to get it. So inflation. So, they don't want to see people be able to live, not living check to check. They want you living check to check because, long as you in dire straight, they can keep control. Yeah. All producing greens, cannabis. You don't use green lights for that. You get grow lights. And you could use a regular fluorescent light. Fluorescent light grows very well too. So you don't have to spend a whole bunch of money. If you want to do it in the closet, you inbox me for that. Jonathan, it was able to drain. Maybe it wasn't draining fast enough. It's just so many things it could be, Jonathan. But did you have them in the ground or in a pot? Was Banneker ever married with children? I don't know. I believe he was. I can't say for sure. I had to look that up. So we can circle back to Benjamin Banneker. Yep. Producing greens. And they're moving in silence. Yes, Sherry, they are. They're moving in silence, without a doubt. These Chinese are very smart. They real savvy, and they still are honorable people, but they ain't honorable like they used to be because they know that's not feasible in order to survive on this planet with the powers that be. You got to be ruthless and shrewd, and so they've always been warrior type. And I guess Dave Chappelle explained it best. He said the reason that we don't never need to get into a war with China is because here you got racism, and you got Latino, you got black, you got white, you got everything. In China, you got Chinese. Period. You got other people that live there, but not in the numbers like you do in this melting pot. And when they call a shot over there and say, hey, this is what we doing, there's no argument. Well, I ain't going because they ain't sending the white kids over there. So why I got to go and give my life for the country, which is a valid, problem. But in China, they don't have that problem. When they say we rolling, they rolling. So that's not the country to start no fight with. That's for damn sure. Great show, Turk. Knowledgeable. Thanks, man. Gotta go. Gotta get back to work. All right, JB, we appreciate you coming on, man. And if y'all like that information I gave today, like and share, and please get some folks on here to sing the Negro National Anthem, lift every voice and sing at a chance to win $100. We need some contestants on here. So today that's gonna be my objective. I got to get some people on here to sing. Yep. So America is the only country where when we get our paycheck, we're 14% in debt before we even cash the check. That's what our bishop said. That's deep right there. That's a shame. Asians. Bye, Jonathan JB. That's what Busy Mama say. Have a great one. And I'm getting ready to get off of here too. I've been on here for an hour and a half talking. But before I get off, is there any questions on germinating seeds or planting before I get off? I'll give y'all a couple of seconds to figure out if there's any questions. And tomorrow, I'm going to try to get me some people on to sing tomorrow. We need to get this rolling, because we can't have no $100 prize and ain't but 4 people, 5 people saying, we need some people to come at this money and make it interesting. Thanks, Busy Mama. Busy Mama said, great show. She learned a lot. And that's all I wanted to do, just give some information. Today is Welcome Wednesdays. When I go into stuff, I like to talk about things that I know about, because it make you look stupid when you talk about stuff and you don't know what the hell you're talking about. So I try to stick to what I know. So I'll be in the dirt most of the time. I like Black history and history, period. That was my favorite subject in school. I don't know, it was because I had a crush on the teacher when I was a freshman. And well, no, I wasn't a freshman. I was a sophomore in high school. That was my sophomore teacher. My freshman teacher was a priest, and I ain't care for him. Yep. Yeah, Busy Mama, right. I stick to what I know. That's it. Yep. But thanks, everybody. I appreciate everybody staying on with me today. And I don't know what the subject is going to be tomorrow. I know we're going to be thankful, though, because it's Thankful Thursday. And hopefully T might be able to sneak in, or somebody can come on and hang out with me, because I am offering for somebody to show up tomorrow and co-host with me a couple of times before T comes back on, just so I have someone, to talk to, because it's hard when you're the only one talking, and then you keeping up with the comments and all that type of stuff. So y'all help a brother out. Come on the show. Get live. I mean, and even if you just have questions and don't want to teach anything, or just come on and have a discussion. That's all we need to do. Let's turn up on here while the boss is still out. Wait till Friday freestyle. That was Daybreak. Daybreak want to turn up. Yep. And everyone try to find some singers for the contest, please. Yep. Biz Network say she trying to get her daughter to sing, and she might try. And this ain't about who's the best singer. This is just about us singing and honoring, our Black heritage, our Afro-American heritage, and just singing the song, and then creating a larger base for the show at the same time. Yep. So y'all please hit some folks up and just tell, even if they just come on and sing 2 or 3 lines, they don't have to sing the whole song. We're not trying to get nobody to sing the whole song. You ain't got to sing like Luther Vandross and Patti LaBelle. You know, if you can't sing, just come on and mumble it, whatever you want to do. Just come on and have your shot at this $100. Oh, look at here, y'all.
I'm on a quick break. I said, let me see if they still on. I couldn't break away. Everybody, I want to tell everybody that's here, though, thank you so much, everybody, for the love and the blessings on February 14th, Valentine's Day, Monday. I was, y'all know I was taken back. Now, y'all know I sat here and I cried, right? Y'all know I cried. I walked through the house. I went to the living room, went to the pictures and talked to my mom and said, Mom, today is the day that God took you away from me. It's Valentine's Day. I always talk to her and tell her, in case she forget. And I talked to myself too. And I told her, I said, but the show has been going on. I said, Ma, you got to know. I said, they honored you and Neil on the show today. I said, and they treated me and cashed at me. And I went and treated myself to a Mediterranean meal yesterday. No, I mean, day before yesterday, Monday night. I left here and got dressed and went and treated myself to a Mediterranean meal. I talked to Turk. I had on my pink and I ate good. I was stuffed when I ate. Baby, I was stuffed. That girl was giving me more stuff than I can handle. I was like, girl, what I'm finna do? I know. She said, try it. She was so nice. She was so sweet. So they were really sweet women at this place where I go. And they treated me so good. I said, you all ain't gonna believe this. I'm only here because people treated me for Valentine's Day. I said, normally I don't even celebrate. She said, no, why? I said, because I lost my mom on this day. She's like, oh no. And she was just piling food on my plate. I was like, girl, hold on. And so all that food I ate, I didn't even bring none back. I ate it all right. I came home and was going to have some baklava. Instead, I had my ice cream, my almond milk ice cream. Ooh, they so good. But anyway, I want to say thank you to everybody who supported that, even those who couldn't. Don't feel bad. If you could, you could. If you couldn't, you couldn't. Thank you to Jonathan. Thank you to Joan. Thank you to Marjorie, who created all of this. Her and Turk, the little snakes in the grass, all behind my back and everything. They did all this behind my back. So I want to say thank you to Marjorie. Thank you to Turk. Thank you to Blood Brother Mike. Thank you to Sound Dr. Allen. Thank you to Joan. Thank you to Yvette. Thank you to Bobby Norman Kubich. Oh my God. Who else? Jonathan,
Alicia.
wife. Oh my God. Hey, thank you to everybody and everyone who donated to the Cash App on my behalf. And I ain't take it and give it to the homeless. I was tempted to, though. Y'all just don't know I wanted to go buy some stuff for them, but I ain't had a time that day. So I did go eat today. Not today. I think Friday, I'm gonna go try to get the rest of it. I'm gonna go try to let Kim do my hair, condition my hair. I need a conditioner, so I'm gonna let her do the deep conditioning that she does, because that really made
Is your scalp itching?
Huh?
Go in condition.
Yeah, I did. I washed this morning. It was itching. I washed it this morning and conditioned it, and then I just washed that out and put the leave-in stuff on my hair. But it was, and so I was itching the other day. I said my scalp is itching. I need to wash before I condition, and I need to go see my scalp.
Yep.
Boy,
Love is a universal principle, T. It's reciprocal. And you give a lot of it out, so it's time for you to get some back.
Well, thank you to everybody. God bless y'all. Thank you so much. And daughter to sing, and I might try it too. Biz Network, you better get on here. Hey, busy mama, thank you.
And you see,
don't go.
look,
Hey,
you see what Daybreak put on there talking about let's turn up while the balls go.
I see a little sneaky butt. You a mess, Christine. Turn up for what? Y'all a mess. She said, thank you for always sharing your knowledge, Turk. Our bishop, you can do In the Dirt every day and have an awesome show. In the Dirt every day. Oh yeah, you in the dirt today, Turk?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well,
Turned up for
We did
what?
some. I did some on Benjamin Banneker and Busy Mama, and JB commented and helped me out with that. And then, by him doing the Farmer's Almanac, I piggybacked from the Farmer's Almanac into a segment on propagating seeds, and how do you go from food that you eat that you could take the seeds out of, how do you check to see which ones you can plant, and then once you harvest those, how you germinate them and then start them into a plant.
Wow. Wow. So my little plant is still growing from my turmeric. It grows a couple of leaves that died. I don't know.
How big? It's in a big enough pot, ain't it?
Let me show you my little pot. Show my little baby pot.
Cause it ain't pot bound or root bound. Oh yeah, T, you got to take that out of there. Put that in a bigger pot. That's all.
Okay.
And stake it.
It's turmeric in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You take the whole thing. I cut the pot and take that whole piece of dirt, that whole pot of dirt, move the whole thing and put it in another larger pot.
Okay.
And stake it. Take a shish kebab straw or anything that you have that's tall as the plant. Yeah, and stand it up. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing that. And then this little crazy thing, I done brought it down. That little thing.
You got that in a pop bottle?
A water bottle.
You're going to have to cut that to get the roots out.
Look, I know how to get it out now. I pour the water out, y'all. And then I twist it all out of there. But then, I got all these. I got these.
Nigga, T got a green thumb, y'all.
I got all them growing. And y'all know these plants grow crazy anyway. Anybody can grow them plants. But then that's my prized possession. That's my baby right there. Let me give her some light too while I'm up here. I didn't give her no light this morning. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah, she need food.
Yeah, I gave her food yesterday.
She looked good. I mean, the sun is food too.
I gave her food yesterday. I didn't give her none because I was waiting them leaves to turn. I ain't want them leaves to keep turning brown.
Yeah.
So I gave her food yesterday, but I didn't give her none. I didn't want her to get jealous either, though. But, yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The plants get jealous. Oh yeah, they get jealous. They have feelings too.
Archbishop, what size you talking about transplanting? You see, it's according to the size of the plant to the size of the pot and what it is and how big it is. You got to allow the plant to grow its full potential or else it'll stifle it.
Yes, sir, Bob.
Yep.
That's what you got to do. Well, everybody, I got to get back now. I got 2 minutes.
T, close us out.
Huh?
Close us out.
I love y'all. Y'all have a great day, okay? Peace.
I was trying to get her to do the reach back and give back, and she ain't even do it. But that's all right. I got something I'm going to do before I get out of here, y'all. And I'm going to call it a day, y'all. I appreciate everybody staying with me and hanging in there. And yes, I was trying to leave and she wouldn't even close the little show out. But that's all right. I just play the banner and reach back and give back. Whatever you can give, if you see somebody that need a smile, a hug, or $1, $2, whatever's on your heart, It could be a homeless person, a family member. It don't have to be somebody that you don't know. Just raise your humanitarian self. Raise the humanity. Raise the frequency. And I love y'all, but I'm gonna get out of here because I'm getting ready to go and send some packages off. I gotta pack this guitar up. Oh, I'm gonna reveal the guitar before I pack it up too, because I already put it back together. I'm gonna just buff it out tonight, and I'll show it on the show tomorrow, so everybody can see the finished product. But it's being shipped off to its owner, probably Monday. So y'all have a good one. Stay safe. Watch it back. Stuff's still crazy. Stay safe. Keep your mask on. Still do the protocol when you go to these grocery stores. Because I know here in Georgia, at first it was like 1,000 cases, new for like maybe 2 or 3 days. But after the Super Bowl, it's jumped. And it's like 5,000 cases, overnight. And I was like, what? And that was just behind the Super Bowl. And 2 days, this was yesterday, I looked at it. So, 2 days after the Super Bowl, 5,000 new cases. So I know, we still got a job to do. Keep yourself safe, y'all, and protect your families, and take your vitamins and your nutrients. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace. Bless up. I'm out.